Hello and welcome to another episode of The Approachable Agent. Today we are going to get to a topic that I know that you've been searching for, which is why are agents not responding to my query? It's so painful and I feel you, and so I want to give you the answers as to why when you're sending this out, maybe you're spending hours putting together emails and sending out queries and they're not responding, and you don't even know why. Well, I'm going to tell you some of the things that you need to do beforehand, just small tweaks that may make a difference between getting a response and sending your query out into the ether, and then it just floats away and you never hear anything again. We don't want that. We don't want that for you. So, number one, is the agent that you are querying currently accepting submissions? I know that sounds really basic, but even though they are an agent and you know that they're out there doing deals, it doesn't mean that they're accepting submissions 24/7, 365. A lot of us get a lot of submissions, and so we have to break it down so that we can actually spend time with the manuscripts we've got, much less actually give support to our current client list. And that's understandable, right? So just make sure that you go in and do that research. If you found them on Twitter by following the hashtag MSWL, which is Manuscript Wishlist, and they've just posted it, well, hey, you've got it. They are definitely accepting submissions if they put a call out for a particular type of manuscript. So well done, way to go. That can be ticked off. The next thing is your manuscript in the right genre? Now, I have done another video kind of like this, so I'll try to link that in the notes below. But essentially, research is your friend. And if you've spent your blood, sweat, and tears on writing your dream manuscript or your first dream manuscript, then I want you to spend that extra time finding out everything that you can about the agents that you want to approach. So yes, it can feel like taking on a whole other part-time job, but it is worth it to find the right partner. You know, all this time we spend trying to find the right partner in life and in romance, well, we want to spend that in trying to find the right agent for you. And so even if you have identified a particular agency that you know they acquire a lot of manuscripts within this particular genre, you need to find out what genre that agent that you are targeting loves most. And if it's not them, look at their colleagues. What are their colleagues really interested in? Make sure that it is a right fit right from the beginning. Next, have you tailored your query to the actual agent? And this falls back to really the first three, which is a little bit of research goes a long way. Here's a sad, well, it's sad to me, but a sad truth that I get quite a few friend requests, connection requests, and submissions from people who I can tell that they haven't looked at my website. How can I tell? Because number one, I'm not actually actively taking submissions. And number two, if they'd looked at my website, they probably would have noticed straight away that they might not be a great fit. Now, I say kudos to anybody who is feeling brave enough to submit their work. I think that's amazing. And yet, I feel bad on the receiving end because I'm not the person for them. And if they'd done a teensy bit more research, they might have found somebody that is out there waiting for exactly what they've written. So put the time in to do your research so that you know that this is landing on an agent who is really excited to get the manuscript you've written. That's the feeling you want them to have, right? Excitement. Here's this potential partnership to go into publishing together, but they have to be the right fit. And so doing a little bit of research, are they accepting submissions? Is this the right genre for them? And making sure you know a little bit about who they are, even if you just go to their Twitter bio or Instagram or Facebook or what they've written on their agency website should give you enough information to be able to make a friendly approach and pass on that energy and information that you know who they are, what they've done, at least a little bit of what they've done, and what they like. That will endear them to you, and then they will likely respond. But if it's a form letter or it looks like a very easy, and look, I mean, back in the day, totally made this mistake myself. I'm trying to do too much, and I probably did a typo and a cut and paste. And take your time, especially when you found an agent that you think is a good fit. Okay? Taking your time leads right into the next one. And it's a basic one, but again, in our excitement to get our query out there, we can sometimes forget to read and then reread and then proofread. You don't want mistakes in there. Can you get past mistakes? Absolutely. There's no hard and fast rule, but in a query, this is that first impression. And I've talked about this before, and you kind of can't get that back. So unless the rest of the content in that query is like drop dead perfect match, agents are so busy and they are inundated by hundreds, maybe even thousands of queries a week. And so you want to do yourself a favor just by taking an extra moment to proofread 1, 2, 3, 4 times before you send it out, so that you can try to avoid any typos or obvious grammatical errors. Okay, we're not talking about perfection, but pretty damn close if you can get there. And the 5th piece of advice for getting a response from an agent is, are you actually giving them the relevant information? And I'll just share that with you in a minute. And the hook. This is coming up a lot for me lately as an agent as I'm approaching publishers. The fact is that the agent is the first line, right? You want to get across that finish line first and then get their advice on how to craft both your manuscript and the approach. Now, what they might be looking for is the hook. I've talked about this before, and it is especially important with the really hyper-competitive publishing market that we have now. Agents want to make it an easy sell into publishers, and what publishers want is a hook that they know exactly how they're going to sell this manuscript into the market. I will put a link below as well in the notes to a fabulous explanation of how to get your own hook. It's definitely worth a look. I really like the way that these women explained how they wrote their hook. But what we want in this query is a nice little introduction, letting them know how you know about who this agent is and their past work that you've loved, whatever it is that you can make that connection. Then you want to have a brief intro. This is where you would put a hook. So a brief intro into your manuscript. Now, some people embed the vibe of their manuscript here, and they kind of do a little cliffhanger thing that makes the agent want to read the synopsis. You need to be authentic to you. So whatever works for you, but this is the place where you would use that hook. Sometimes when we're talking about high-level concept approaches, people might say it's Harry Potter meets Gone Girl. I mean, don't use that. Don't use that at all. But that's what I mean. If you want to give them something recognizable that is true, so you only write it if your book was Harry Potter meets Gone Girl. Again, don't use that one. Please don't mention Harry Potter, even if you've written YA or the next Harry Potter. Please don't. It's just been seen a lot. And so that can help you if you don't do a thing that they've already seen a lot. You need to stand out on your own. And then the next part you need is the synopsis. And for the most part, again, no hard and fast rules. Some people really love to write a synopsis without the complete story, right? That feels more like a back cover blurb. But as an agent myself and other agents that I know, I don't want that. I want you to tell me the whole story. Why? In the synopsis, I need to know that you've written a whole story. And if you leave it hanging, that is interesting. It might pique my interest. But the fact is, if I don't know for sure that you've delivered, i.e. what is the resolution to the major problem that you've had your protagonist or the reader go through? Well, I'm not sure. So it's a bit of a gamble. If it were me, I would write out the entire synopsis so that they understand who are the main characters and what actually happens and what's the resolution. And then a short bio about yourself. You don't have to have some amazing writerly career, but we want to know what's interesting about you, what's relevant about you. Certainly, if you have ever been published in any way before, like in magazines or in some sort of compendium, or even at university, if you've been published or part of anything that could feel like an accolade, totally put that in there. Okay. And then if you ever get feedback that says, I didn't need that, well, then I guess you can take that out. But in the interim, they want to know a little bit about you. And even if you don't have huge writing chops, that's okay. If you have an amazing synopsis, an incredible hook, they don't mind. They're going to help you get there. So that's it for today. I really hope that helps. I'm going to put those links in the notes so that you can go find out how to write a hook and follow up with my other video about how to approach literary agents. But I want you to look at those 5 things, right? Make sure they're accepting submissions. Make sure you're writing in the right genre for them. Make sure that you've actually tailored your query to that agent, not just dear sir or madam and that kind of thing. That you've tried as hard as any human can, and we all go through this, so I totally hear you, but you've tried to eliminate any typos or major grammatical errors, and then finally give them the challenge of having a hard time saying no. Give them a great hook and give them a synopsis that they love. And you should start to hear back from those agents in no time. I'm wishing you so much luck because I know you have a story to share and it's time to share it. Until next time, bye.